That's good, but it's bananas or grapes. Guess which ones are the highest in sugar and starches? Bananas and grapes. That's why people like them. Actually, probably your best fruits are the ones in the berry families and melon families. But you need to spread it out. Don't just do 1 or 2 types of fruit, and you need several servings a day. Fruits, low sugar. Nuts. Remember, peanuts are not nuts. They are a bean. Don't eat them. By the way, did you know that probably 20% of all peanuts that you eat are partially contaminated by aflatoxins? That's a naturally occurring fungus that is carcinogenic. By that way, also a lot of your grains are too. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why we have such a high rate of cancer among dogs and cats here in America. You know why? Because little kitties and little doggies are not supposed to eat corn. It's not what they do in their natural environment. They prefer meat. They're little carnivores. Remember that. I know they're cute little animals, but they prefer meat. Well, you try and save some money here and you give them corn, and then you wonder why they get cancer. You don't see cancer in wild cats or wild dogs. You do see it in ours. It's because they're consuming a lot of stuff from the soy family and also from the grain family. So peanuts are not a nut. They're a bean. Nuts. Pretty much any kind of nut, except for the possible exception of, I think it's pistachios, which happens to be in the same family as Nux vomica, which is poison ivy. I think I got that right, but it's everything else is okay within moderation. Fresh is best. Oh, now you say nuts are fattening? Not if you buy them in your shell and crack them with your hands. I am serious about that. The studies have been done. Also, they taste a heck of a lot better. Seeds. Sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, stuff like that. You have to be careful with these. You can overconsume them. They should be fresh. But they're nice to put on your salad. You know, toasted sesame seeds on your salad, nice little touch. So seeds are loaded with a lot of goodies. Pumpkin seeds have a lot of things in there that are very, very good for men that have benign prostatic hypertrophy. And they got zinc in there, good for wound healing and a whole bunch of other things. Also a good source of vitamin E. Berries. Real berries, not something that comes in a sugar sauce. Fresh is best. Tubers. Now, roots and tubers. Give an example of a root would be a carrot, or maybe a beet, or maybe a rutabagas, if I'm getting this right. A tuber would be something like a potato, or a sweet potato, or a jicama, or a yucca, however it's pronounced, but I can keep going. These are fairly high in carbos. They're okay, just don't get carried away. I recommend staying away from regular potatoes. They, especially if you have eyes in them and they're discolored, they have a chemical in there called solanine, which actually is quite toxic. And certainly you cook potatoes if you're going to eat them. Again, one of the definitions of these foods is if you could eat it raw and it's safe for you to eat raw, then it's going to be on the diet. You see, these foods you could not eat raw. It would not be safe. Okay? Now you say, well, what about meat? Well, truth of the matter is, you can eat meat raw if it's clean. It's done all the time. I don't recommend doing it with our current food system because it's so dirty and contaminated. I don't think you can trust it. So I'd suggest cooking all our food. Meats and eggs down here, there you go. You have to check your source. I prefer grass-fed. We get our meat whenever we can from in Kansas. We know some people there that have a ranch that has buffalo that eats the grass. That's all they eat. They don't top them off with corn to make them big and fat. We like them lean. And yes, they are a little on the chewy side, but that's actually the way they're supposed to be. You know, when you go to a fancy restaurant and they bring you out this steak they're very proud of, and you cut into it, you cut it with a fork, that's not normal. The cows are not supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be big, powerful animals, particularly buffaloes. And fish. With fish, well, cold water fish. Let me give you a little bit of advice there. We all hear about salmon. I think all Atlantic salmon is farm raised. I don't think any of it's wild caught unless you know somebody. Pacific salmon, probably most of that is also farm raised. The canned salmon is almost all wild caught. Any salmon that comes from Alaska is going to be wild caught unless somebody's lying to you about the source, which has been known to happen. Okay? So cold water fish are best, but even warm water fish like our grouper and things like that, very, very good. And fish is one of the best things you can do, although fish are getting wear. So this is your diet. Avoid this, eat these. Now you might think, oh my God, what will I do? An example of a breakfast for me would be to get up in the morning. Did you know you can have a shake on this diet? Susie and I do it all the time. You could have a whey protein shake. That's really not, that's kind of dairy. That's cheating. So we use a egg white protein shake, and we fill fruits and in there and put it in our blender, and that's our breakfast. The egg white protein is sold by now. It has like no flavor. So we have a shake that tastes quite good, and that may be our breakfast. Or we may have an omelet with several ingredients, the veggies and all that thrown into it with maybe some meat. Or we might have some fruit with some nuts. That's breakfast. Paleo breakfast. No limit on what you want to eat. Lunch might be a big chef salad without any cheese and a dressing that you make with, say, olive oil dressing and lemon juice and some herbs and spices and things like that. Dinner might be chicken, fish, lean pork, lean beef, some vegetables that fall in these categories. No potatoes, no buns, no pasta, no ice cream, no Twinkies, no Ding Dongs, no Baby Ruth candy bars, no chips, no Fritos. I can keep going. No soda pop. Okay? Not that big a deal. Some people even have a glass of wine on a paleo diet. Technically, that might fall within the range, although I think that's stretching it a little bit. I don't think hard stuff, I don't think beer would fall within the range at all. The wine, because it's made from a fruit, in theory, I guess some caveman 50,000 years ago could have found some grapes that had been fermenting and eaten them and gone, wow, this is nice, or not, until the next day. So that's up to you. But that's basically the program here. Now, if you do this, you're going to find some pretty amazing things will happen. You will feel better. I promise you this. If this doesn't help you, it cannot harm you. You stop eating these foods, it isn't going to harm you. Contrary to what people may tell you, oh, I need quick energy. Believe me, there's plenty of quick energy over here. I've had 300-pound people tell me that, hey, I need to eat that bowl of Tony the Tiger cereal in the morning because I need quick energy. And I told her, I says, I think you've got enough quick energy stored up in that body. You got enough to run from here to the moon and back a couple times. You ought to start burning that off rather than accumulating more energy. Okay, so this is the diet. Now you wonder, what can you eat? And isn't this horrible? Actually, there's some very nice recipes. Here's where you go. Here's your websites. www.paleodiet.com. Real clever there. P-A-L-E-O-D-I-E-T. Now, that'll take you to a website that, if you want to do your homework and look this up and check out what I said, that's the place to go. It'll take you to multiple links, multiple studies. I didn't just make this stuff up. The research on this has been going on for hundreds of years and quite intense. A lot of your marathon athletes, your professional athletes, your Olympic athletes are switching over to this diet. A lot of the guys in the Tour de France are using it and getting excellent results with their improved athletic abilities. So it's the wave of the future, and yet it's 50,000 years old. We're going back to the way people ate 50,000 years ago. By the way, this diet is much more sustainable than the one we're doing right now. Much less of a drag on the environment than what we're doing right now. I know you may disagree with that, you vegetarians, but check it out. Just one thing. Do you know how many people die per year from mosquitoes who bite them with the malaria parasite that come from rice paddies? It's millions. Nobody's dying from the gas released by methane released from cows because they pass gas a lot. Think about that. Anyway, paleo diet, lots of research there. Go to this website, paleofood, PALEOFOOD.com. You want some recipes? Did you know that you can make a really, really good pancake out of whatever, pick your nut, walnuts? I like pecans. You basically take the fresh pecans, grind them up in your blender, throw in a little bit of egg, maybe a touch of cinnamon, get it the consistency right. You're going to have to monkey with this, maybe a touch of water, blend it up, pour it in a frying pan using coconut oil or olive oil, just a little bit, and cook it like you would a pancake. And you'll get something that resembles and looks like a pancake. No, it doesn't taste exactly like a pancake. If anything, I think it tastes better. You could, if you want to change the consistency a little bit, make it into like a crepe and use it as a roll-up and have a sandwich. Or you can use it flat, put some fruit on it, and you have yourself like a pancake. with a little bit of cinnamon on it or something like that. You can do this if you want. And that's actually, if you got to have a breakfast, you can do that. There are actually recipes in there for making rolls out of nuts, breads out of nuts, pasta out of these things. That's if you want to go there. And there's a whole bunch of other recipes, a whole very, very interesting cuisine. Now, one more thing you might want to do. You can go to a website, YouTube website, and you can see the lectures there done by Dr. Cordain. Dr. Cordain is at the University of Colorado. I think it's in Boulder, Colorado, I think. Could be wrong on that. And he's a professor there in nutrition science, and I think he has a degree in biochemistry. I'm not sure about that, but I listened to his lectures. Very, very highly educated man. He's written books on the paleo diet. If you want to learn more there, just go to YouTube, Dr. Cordain. Dr. C-O-R-D-A-I-N, Dr. Cordain. And you'll see there his information, and he can explain it much better than I can, and you'll understand that I'm not the only person advocating this. Again, the beautiful thing about this diet is, if I could talk patients into doing it, I've seen rheumatoid arthritis patients who were stuck in a wheelchair, hadn't been able to get out of it in years, get up and walk. I've seen people who had IBS so bad, this is a true story, so bad they were wearing a diaper and could not leave the house. Completely clear up. I mean, they were developing a severe neurosis because they no longer had a life. They couldn't hold any food down. They either had diarrhea or vomiting. How would you like to go through life like that? It was all because they were consuming foods they were allergic to. We got them on this diet. It all clears up. And then he asked me, he says, am I going to have to live like this the rest of my life? And I just said, look, it's the way this goes. You want to put that diaper back on? Well, then I would follow this diet. He says, I think I'm going to follow this diet. Yes, he has. He's a very, very healthy young man now. So my point is this, is that this works. It's very safe. Now, if you try it for something that you got a symptom of, and you honestly try it, and it doesn't work, okay, you can't hurt yourself. This is a balanced diet. This is the original diet. This is what you should have been on all along. You're taking your chance eating this stuff, not eating that stuff. Okay? So if it doesn't work, okay, go back to this if you want to, and see if we care. It's just that it can't harm you. That's the beauty of this diet. It can't harm you. You notice that we don't mention anything about the amounts. Because it's naturally occurring, and like, as I said, when you, for instance, you're consuming something that has sugar in it, it's an apple, so you got all that pectin, all that fiber in there, you're not going to overconsume any of this. You can't overconsume. Go ahead. I mean, if you try to drink, say, an 8-ounce glass of apple juice, that's actually a refined carbohydrate. It probably takes maybe 4 or 5 apples, 4 apples, depending on the size of the apples, to make 8 or 10 ounces of apple juice. Would you eat 4 or 5 apples? Of course not. So you see, it has a limiting factor. You people that use juicers, they're not a good idea. With carrots, I have people that will drink a quart of carrot juice a day and then wonder why their blood sugar is so high and their triglycerides are so high. Could you eat like a pound or 2 of carrots? I don't think so. I don't think you could. So it has a self-limiting quality. Anyway, this is what we find. This is what we use. Go to YouTube, listen to Dr. Cordain's lecture. If you have any questions, call us at our clinic, or go to our website. Well, you're already at our website, naturalhealthandyou.com, and we will answer any questions that you might have. Thank you for watching.